grocery stores and buy bread and beans and all these other things that you think you're supposed to be eating that's actually killing the molecular structure of your body. When you learn true knowledge of self, that's what brings wealth. See, we got it backwards. We want to dive into the wealth and run for the bag and get into the money, but we on our deathbed doing it. Then we want to bring up things like generational wealth. How can you pass wealth down through the generations if your epigenetic inheritance is sick, full of mucus, full of acids, and everybody coming through you have the same mutations of cells? What is money going to do for you if you can't spend the shit? Do y'all really understand what I just said? So what is first priority, the bag or your body? Because the body spins the bag. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Next slide. So we just looked at the nucleus of the cell of what we call new sun that actually acts as the birth canal of the cell. Now we're looking at the actual rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is the organelle. This actually functions as the birth canal of the cell. So look, the cells actually give birth through something called the ribosomes. Just like a beautiful melanated woman spread her hips and that baby drop crowning out and her water breaks and she squat, not lay flat on her back, because that don't make no sense at all. That is European, Greco-Roman type of birth. That melanated woman squats, and she used to catch her own baby, y'all. That's crazy, right? Oh, we got to talk about that. But anyways, just like that melanated woman can birth a baby out of her canal, new life out of her canal, the same thing happens when you start talking about the reticulum. It actually functions as the birth canal, and the ribosome give birth to a new cell. Usually this is called messenger RNA. Say that with me, messenger RNA, which is a photographic picture of DNA. See that? The body is miraculous. So literally, the cells have organelles. The organelles of the cells actually move and function like the organs that make up your body. Remember that I told you the atoms make up molecules, molecules make up cells, cells make up tissues, tissues then make up organs, organs make up organ systems, and these organ systems make a full-grown organism called a human being? When you dive deep into the cell is a replica of your whole entire body, and you have 150 trillion of them. You can't tell me God ain't real. How did that even work like that? Yeah, let's give a round of applause to God. Straight up. That's power. I'm actually getting to a point here, y'all. I know y'all like, okay, Yaki, what are you talking about and where is this going? We actually going somewhere. All right, so y'all on this journey with me? Yeah. All right, let's do it. Next slide. I see you too, Goddess. I see you too. All right, next slide. This just shows you that the cells have testicles. Next slide. Now I really want to talk about the next slide. I must have put that in there twice. I'm blaming it on you, Jay. You put that in there twice, not me. All right, I really want to talk about the mitochondria. The mitochondria is an organelle of the cell, but the mitochondria is not a part of the body. It's like hosts with the body. It has its own DNA. It has its own thought pattern. It defecates. It goes to the bathroom. It communicates with other cells. This thing inside the cell acts as the respiratory system of the cell, and it acts as the digestive system of the cell. But it hasn't been inside of the human genome for too long. This thing is like an alien, and it's actual maternal in nature. It's literally a part of the proliferation of all life, and it's act as a woman. This is a female. This is a feminine energy. And I call her Mother Mitochondria. Say that with me. Mother Mitochondria. Did you know without this beautiful, feminine woman organelle, you would not be able to breathe? You would not be, the only reason why you breathe, let's do a breath exercise real quick. On the count of 3, I want you to breathe in deeply through your nasal passage. I want you to hold it for 4 seconds. Then I want you to exhale for 4 seconds. I'm going to show y'all. So, I want to show y'all what we just did. Come on. 1, 2, 3. What we did was we took oxygen from the atmosphere. The oxygen went into our bodies. We used something called glycolysis, which is what y'all drinking on. All of y'all got drinks is nothing but fermented sugar. These sugars, yeah, I'm on y'all heads tonight. I'm being biased. I'm being biased. I'm letting y'all know. These sugars actually ferments and it breaks down into something called glucose. This glucose then goes through the mitochondria and it goes through something called a Krebs cycle, or what you would call a citric acid cycle. And what the citric acid cycle does is it starts to break these sugars down into something called pyruvates. These pyruvates then actually pulls oxygen from hemoglobin, showing you why hemoglobin and iron phosphate is so important when it comes to the melanated body. When you get to Caucasians, because I do see a few Caucasians here, your mineral is actually calcium. But our minerals is iron phosphate. So it strips and it pulls iron phosphate in the body. You got iron phosphate, you have pyruvate, which come from actual glucose, and then you have carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide actually comes from what you breathe out, but you try to keep it in your body. These things mix together, then break down and create a water. This water is actually used as fuel for the mitochondria, can fire off a fuel for your cells to actually have vitality, power, and this power is called ATP. I talk about it all the time, adenosine triphosphate. Can y'all say that with me? Adenosine triphosphate. You can't live without adenosine triphosphate. And I'm going to show you why we call these things diseases and how your body is constantly trying to keep this in homeostasis. In the moment that you start basically depriving your cells of oxygen, that's when all these symptoms start kicking in, for your body can detoxify itself, for it can bring the adequate amount of oxygen back in the body, for you can be back into a balance of homeostasis. I don't know one disease that's a true disease, y'all. Every disease that I've been studying for the last 10 to 12 years is an actual symptomology of the body trying to heal itself. And I want anybody can challenge me on this. We can sit down and we can bring forth the information if you can prove me wrong. That is how convicted, and that's how much evidence and proof I got for this so-called theory that I'm talking about. Because it's not a theory, because it's been proven for over 100 years. They actually been proving this since 1902. They just digging in books. They bury the books. They burn the books. They make sure that they don't put it on Google, because this information is very vital and important to a people, because if you have your health, you have your freedom. Seriously. Now, let's just read what the mitochondria do. It says the mitochondria takes oxygen and releases carbon dioxide, which is CO2, with ATP, similar to breathing, fuels most activities of the cells. The inner structure is folded many times to allow the maximum area of cellular respiration. You literally breathe to feed mitochondria. Everything you do in your life is for this mother mitochondria right here, this female. This changed the concept of man to be womanized, I'm telling you. Because when you get down to the fundamental principles of what makes us human beings, it's a feminine aspect. In the moment that you stop giving to mama, you die. It just made me look at, when I first started studying, it made me look at women totally different. I just call my wives and apologize. I'm sorry. I don't know what I've been doing. I've been on a honcho trip. I've been throwing my masculine energy around too much, but dang, the very principles that make up my cells, and these cells make up my tissues, these tissues make up my organs, these organs make up who I am, and these are all fundicated off of an actual maternal organelle called the mitochondria, and if I don't feed her, I live my life to serve her. In the moment that I stop serving her, I die and I suffocate. That sounds painful as hell for not being, good to your woman, don't it? Just saying. I bet the man in here, look at this nigga. Y'all be all right. Next slide. Now, this is what I want to talk about. This is called aerobic respiration. So aerobic process is basically when the cells need to use oxygen to actually fire off ATP. You cannot walk around, you cannot breathe, you cannot drink, you cannot eat, you cannot think, you cannot do nothing without ATP. It's literally the fuel for the body. Just like you pull up to a gas station and you put fuel in your car, and that car's fuel is actually used to turn the ignition on so you can go. Then you got the oil in your car, which is used for the blood. See that? If you look at the car mechanism, it's built just like our body. The fuel for your car is called ATP. Usually it's fructose. Glucose is secondary. When you talk about melanated beings, we're naturally frugivores. So the fruit gives you the highest yielding ATP that you can get. But if you don't get the fructose, usually it's glucose, and that's the thing that we eat on an everyday basis. That's why y'all need to tap into y'all frugivore diets, because that is a high essential fuel for the body. It's damn near like that 93, that premium gas. You know what I'm saying? Then when you start eating vegetables, that's your what is that? What's that middle part? 89, 86? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's semi. That's got some unleaded in there. Then you got your meats and your stuff like that. That's your straight regular gas. You hear me? Who all in here on that premium? Raise your hand. Y'all lying. Yeah, all right. I ain't never been in a room with that many frugivores in my life. I love it though. It's called manifestation, right? Manifestation. I get it. So check this out. The